Hey, what's going on everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's going to be a lot of fun because we get to talk about Dean Guitars. It's no secret that Dean Guitars and the journey of Dean Guitars over the last give or take 4 or 5 years has been heavily documented on this channel, and so in this video I want to make a hypothesis and an opinion-based video on what I think Dean Guitars should do in 2023 to make an awesome comeback. I say comeback because 2021 and 2022 weren't the best years for Dean Guitars, right? But just because a company is down doesn't mean they're out, right? Who doesn't love a comeback story? Who doesn't love a redemption story? So in this video, like I said, I want to talk about some things that I would love to see from a fan's perspective and a consumer's perspective that I think would be awesome for the company and how they could succeed and bounce back stronger than ever, okay? It goes without saying, but this video is solely based on my opinions, okay? And I'm making this video at a place of love, all right? I love the company. I love the people that work on the guitars and that, you know, are down in the nitty-gritty, down in the custom shop, down in the marketing, down in, you know, just running the phones, all the above, man. Armadillo Enterprises is a really cool entity, and yeah, man, I just want to see them succeed, okay? So feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions on Dean Guitars down below in the comments, and with that being said, I'm going to give you my opinions right now. Right off the bat, no more Dean script logo. I'll put up an example right here on the screen, but yeah, I think this logo is a big pass for me, a big miss for me. And the reason being is because the iconic Dean Get Your Wings logo is arguably the most recognizable and iconic logo in the guitar community. So to shy away from that in any capacity, I think is a huge disservice to the brand itself. And in the words of Elliot Rubinson, he said one thing about the Dean Wings logo that was so cool and so sick is that you could see it from the back row of an arena.
Of course, the distinctive V headstock that can be seen from so far away, and you can see this V headstock way in the back of the stadiums. We're the only people that do it, first people that do it, very distinctive.
I get it, it says Dean in big, bold script letters, you know, it makes sense, like this is a Dean guitar, you can read it, but I just think the logo itself, the Wings logo, is way more iconic and way cooler, for a lack of a better description. I really like the Wings logo, so yeah, no more Dean script logo. Number 2, the second thing I want to see is not as many Kahler-equipped guitars. Now I say not as many because I think there is a time and a place for Kahlers and Floyd Rose and hardtails and stoptails and string throughs and, you know, all the different types of bridge configurations that we love to try and jam with, right? However, in 2021 and in 2022, they went really heavy-handedly on Kahlers. And I really liked a lot of the models that they came out with. However, me personally, I'm just not a Kahler fan, and I know a lot of people aren't. I know a lot of people are Floyd fans. But not everybody's a Floyd fan, and I think it would just be a nice little happy medium if they did, you know, maybe kind of balance it out. They went a little too far to the Kahler side of things, in my opinion, and I think that may have potentially hurt the brand. But then again, what do I know? Maybe they were just killing it with sales with Kahler-equipped guitars, but that's just an opinion of mine. One thing that they did start to do, and I want to continue to see more of this and keep rolling this out, is modern specs. I always felt like Dean Guitars, no disrespect, but I always felt they're a little late to the party with rolling out modern specs. For example, roasted maple necks, stainless steel frets, Fishman pickups, Evertunes. All those specs just kind of came into their production model guitars only within the last year or so. And that's awesome, so I want to see more of that. They even started to incorporate fan frets, but again, I think fan frets are kind of like very 2015, 2016, and they were rolling them out in 2021 and 2022. And again, that's not the end of the world, but they're also doing fan fret guitars with Kahler-equipped guitars. Incredibly unique, but in my opinion, a very small demographic of players who would want to play that guitar, you know what I mean? So again, just my opinion, but I think continuing to roll out modern specs is awesome. They need to continue to do that to essentially keep up with the competition. Next thing I would love to see from Dean Guitars, this one's a big one, is a better social media presence. Dean Guitars is one of the best guitar companies of all time. They're one of the most recognizable, one of the most iconic, right? I mean, they're up there with the Jacksons and the Schecters and the Ibanez's. They're right there, man. They're a legendary brand. So in order to make a successful comeback, they need to start implementing, you know, the things that are getting people's attention, you know, a sign of the times. Social media. Social media is so key right now, and I think they really need to ramp up their social media presence, and I think they need to start incorporating, you know, newer segments on their Instagram, on their TikTok, on their YouTube channel, whether it's artists or more in-depth details about their guitars, something, man. Their social media presence needs to get ramped up. I mean, taking a look at their YouTube channel right here, for example, this is a perfect example. The last time they uploaded a video on their YouTube channel was 10 months ago at the time of this filming. It is December 21st, 2022. So this right here is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And the last video was only a 2-minute and 43-second video. They need to start rolling out long-winded videos. They need to start getting their artists involved. They need to start doing something, and it can't just happen like once a year, you know what I mean? Another thing I want to see from Dean Guitars is embracing the brand identity. And what I mean by that is this. They have two iconic shapes in my opinion, MLs and Cadillacs. I love both of those shapes. I especially love the Cadillac. The Cadillac's so unique, man. It's wild looking, and wild in a good way. So, you know, embrace your heritage, embrace your shapes. Don't reinvent the wheel. You got some of the most iconic shapes, you know, of all time in the guitar and hard rock and metal community, man. So run with it. Let it rip, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that is your brand. The ML especially, man. The ML is like the most iconic guitar shape of all time, arguably. Undeniably and undoubtedly a Dean guitar shape. Same with the Cadillac too, man. So, you know, I understand like they had some troubles with some of their other shapes being in a court battle with other companies, etc. So, you know, that's totally, you know, not my place to speak on, but sticking to this bullet point, man, like the MLs and the Cadillacs and, you know, all their shapes and all their iconic headstock and all that stuff, man, just run with it. Embrace it. That's your brand logo. That's your brand identity. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just run with it and it'll flourish, I promise. Another huge bulletin I'd love to see from Dean Guitars, and it has to kind of deal with the social media presence, sign of the times, is you have to get younger artists. Now, over the past couple years, I was noticing Dean Guitars losing a lot of artists, and on paper that doesn't sound too good, but however, I wasn't too concerned because they were kind of, you know, just older artists. I mean, Michelangelo Badio, Dave Mustaine, you know, they were kind of, you know, getting older, you know what I mean? But then once they lost Dimebag Darrell, the estate of Dimebag Darrell, that's where I felt like, okay, this is a big problem, because Dimebag's a legendary, you know, legendary artist, legendary human, right? Like, everybody loves Dime. He was an amazing person and an amazing player too, right? Once they lost the Dimebag estate and lost the Dimebag shape and the brand and all that stuff, that's when I was like, okay, they really need some younger artists. And the two most notable artists, at least from my research and my memory, is they got Doyle from the Misfits and Greg from Mudvayne. Now, two legendary guitar players, two amazing artists, however, not exactly the most young artists out there, you know what I mean? I think Doyle's like pushing 60 and Mudvayne's been out for almost 23 years now. So you got to start to implement younger artists and get younger artists and younger players playing the Dean Guitar brand, you know? And last but not least, the last thing I personally would want to see, it's a fairy tale, it's a fantasy, you know, easy for me to say sitting here in my house, right? But I would love to see a USA standard line from Dean Guitars. Dean Guitars has two separate entities. They have the production line of guitars, which are imports, which are fine, which are amazing guitars. And then they have the super high-end, spec'd out custom shop, and nothing in between. I think they would do exceptionally well if they were able to bridge that gap some way. I mean, take a look at Jackson Guitars, for example. Jackson Guitars rolled out the USA guitars, the Soloist, the SL3, I think they were, like the green one, the blue one, the white one, the black one. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I think Dean Guitars could very well do that, where it's not a full-on custom shop guitar, but it's also not an import. It's somewhere right in the middle. I think there's a huge market for that right now, especially with an iconic brand like Dean Guitars. I think it would, you know, I think it would do very well, and it certainly would compete with other USA guitars, or just guitars that are, you know, just in that price range of, say, 2Gs to 3Gs. You know, I think there's a big market right there. And there's nothing wrong with either of the two. Custom shops are awesome. The imports are awesome, obviously, but I just think there's just a missing gap for, you know, the Dean market. You know what I mean? It's just an opinion. It's too polar opposite for me personally. And easy for me to say, right? Like, yeah, go ahead, just roll out some USA guitars, make them a production line. Like, I totally get it. That's not really feasible. That's why I put that one at the end there. It's just kind of like a bonus bulletin, you know? But overall, everybody, those are my thoughts and opinions on Dean Guitars and how they can roll out a successful comeback in 2023. I love the brand, and I love the people that work down there, and I want to see them do well. And I think these things would be really awesome to see from Dean Guitars, and I think if some of these things happened, I think they'd make a stellar comeback. So everybody, let me know what you think about Dean Guitars, and let me know what you think about my opinions. Like I said, I'll say it one more time, man. This is all just out of love and out of just a passion for the brand of Dean Guitars, and just a passion for guitars in general, you know what I mean? So this is not any form of hate or shade or anything like that. I just want to see him do well, and I want to see him succeed, okay? So with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. I'm out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal. I'll see you guys next time. Later.